Well, we're recording on my new Windows 10 machine this time. So far, not so great. But let's get on with what we normally talk about. We've got some Standard Pauper, our weeks in review, and Classic Pauper. But it's going to be a real light week. With Worlds last week and no PDC, there's not much to talk about. Because looky here, under Standard Pauper, no SPDC, no winner, no MPDC, so we can't talk about a winner there. So sad. So let's get right to the good stuff. Sam, what was your week like?
So far, I got a job, which I haven't had for a while, so that's nice.
Good job. I mean, yes, good to have a job.
I hope it's good.
Yeah. And so far, it won't require any sort of schedule change, because the hours don't require that, which is nice, like as far as the show or anything like that, unless we want to change it, but that's a discussion for later.
Yeah.
And I haven't played my league match yet, because I forgot about it this afternoon, so that's great. But I'm going to win. I'm going to win 2-0 decisively is my plan, and then I'll be 2-0 in the league. And then I did an interview, which will be featured shortly on the show. And let's see, I make fun of Roberto a lot for going to time quite often in his matches. That's pretty much given any given week. So other than that, nothing really going on. My cube videos are up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Every day this week. So if you guys want to go and check those out and all of that, that would be great. Draft my cube and leave me feedback. Is always the best thing in the world because it lets me know what cards are good and what cards are bad and what people feel about the cube in their hearts and souls.
So you can tell Sam what is deep inside. Okay. Well, I will warn everybody that this interview has some strong language. Normally on the show, we don't have a whole lot of strong, harsh words. And that's fine. But I did want to put a little warning for anybody. And for those on the stream, I'm afraid you don't get to see it. Because with the magic of computers, I'm going to splice it in later. So, here we're going to give a little pause.
Hello everybody, it's Sam, Vaultboyhunter with MagicGatheringStrat. Today I am interviewing Edmund Mcmillen. You may know Edmund from being the designer of games such as The Binding of Isaac, of Super Meat Boy. He also has a blog of personal stuff, which is mostly Isaac fan art, which I find all just amazing for the most part, on edmundm.com. And of course you can all follow him on Twitter, where people routinely spam his feed with how many hours they've played Isaac, like on Saturday, and that was insane. Some people have dedicated their life to your video game, sir.
Yeah, people, like, there are more than a few people who have made a considerable living off of playing my game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I actually watch Biznap on YouTube.
He's awesome.
Because his voice is very calming to me in moments of anxiety.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, but Edmund is a secret magic nerd. Not that secret, because you do put...
That's not something I hide, man. I'm a fucking huge magic nerd. I mean, my life is my actual personal life with my wife, and then there's video games, right? And then there's magic. I would say that, like, movies are in there as well. I'm a pretty big movie buff, and of course I listen to a lot of music as well. But when it comes to, like, I have dedicated days to Magic. Like, I go to Friday Night Magic at the mall here, and I play whatever, sets out draft-wise. And on Saturdays, usually, at least every other Saturday, we cube at my place. And if we don't cube, we're doing something else Magic-related. Whatever, drafting a new set or messing around with something.
When you cube, do you cube your cube, or do people bring their cubes, or...?
Oh, we cube my cube.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been cubing your cube on CubeTutor.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can say about CubeTutor, and I love the site, and I have nothing bad to say about CubeTutor, the bots aggressively draft blue. Like, if you don't... You can't cut blue, you can't go mono blue, because the bots eat up all of the blue all of the time.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of high picks in blue. I actually powered down blue a little bit by adding that Thopter enchantment.
Oh, Spy Network.
Yeah, just
I love that card. I love that. I
thought I'll give another draft round that doesn't fit in like power blue. Blue's not.
And I mean,
a specific deck's gonna want that over. Just I'm gonna grab all the good blue cards.
And I mean, it's a good build around card for a cube. My cube isn't, and you drafted my cube once. It's modern, commons and uncommons.
Yeah.
So it's not like super powerful or anything like that. But if I bent the rules, I would put that in. I just think it's got a really unique effect. It's close to the fairy enchantment that poops out a fairy every turn.
Yeah, it's like a bad. God, my brain.
Yeah, I used to have a encyclopedic memory of the card.
It's like such a fucking common. Everybody knows what that card is. Oh man, too bad you can't edit this. I feel like a fool.
Oh, I don't. No, I'm not. This is what we do on the show. So listeners of the show are going to be like, "Oh yeah, what's that card name? Bitter Blossom."
Yeah, there it is.
I always keep.
In my head, I knew there was a B, and I'm like, what is B? How does that do with fairies? I can't think.
B. Okay, so one thing to start out, just because I'm a total geek for video games. I've been playing since like 1988. When I first got my first Nintendo. I love Isaac, so I have to just say that because it really takes me back to like the beginning of my video gaming, and so it's hard as balls. It's randomly generated. I feel like a lot of those early games were. I'm a huge Zelda fan, so all of the iconery there is really cool, and all the magic stuff in it's really awesome. So and I know Afterbirth hopefully will be out, whenever it comes out, but super excited about that. But I've only played Rebirth 45 hours, because with the original Isaac, I didn't have a child, but now I do, so I haven't got to dedicate the amount of time to it. But and I like your development blog, so. Very fun stuff. So thank you for putting all the time you have into the game. It's definitely an awesome experience to sit down and WASD for a couple of hours. So
it's fun to make games. It's the only thing more fun than playing games is making them. It is a lot more fun than playing them. It's pretty surprising. It's something I never really think about. I prefer to make games than play them. I do like playing games, of course, but with the extra time I have, I usually just might as well double down on, work and play at the same time. But yeah, game design can be very fun, especially just the design aspect. It's fun to come up with stuff and kind of crack the code in a way, making things fun, making things make sense. And there's a lot of just hypothesizing of, hey, would this be fun? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're wrong, but I think I've gotten pretty good. I've gotten to the point where I think I can design on paper pretty well, and it pretty much come out the way I assume. There's always some, build arounds. You got to improvise as you go, but game design pretty fun. I recommend.
And I mean, I've noticed that in Rebirth, Isaac had a lot of skill testing stuff going on, and I think Rebirth added a layer of it as well. So And that's something that I think overlaps with Magic design a lot, which I don't know if you intentionally did, but not every item,
sure.
not every item is A plus. Sometimes you end up with like a C minus
Yeah.
as you go through a run. So
I learned a great deal from Magic when it just comes to basic design and how things work, and they've been tuning this formula for so long, and it's kind of reminiscent of new Legos in a way. I don't know if you still build Legos, but Legos have leveled up considerably. They're not how they used to be, and I feel like what happened was a lot of the people that kind of grew up playing Magic as well as playing with Legos hit, around 25 to 30 and started working for them. And they just have a deeper understanding, a better understanding of all this stuff and more rich. Like, I just like how artistic Magic has come when it comes to its design and flavor. I like how deep cards can go. Like, you can design a theme around it or an action. Like, the new Planeswalkers are a great example of storytelling through design. Like, that's really, really cool. And that's something that is really special about games and how you can kind of tell a story through mechanics. In a kind of similar way, I guess you could say that chess was like that. Like, chess was telling the story of like a hierarchy of rule. And it has an interesting commentary on how things kind of work, and I think it's cool that Magic can do that with its mechanics. And I try to do that with my games. I try to make the gameplay be part of the story, and not just some sort of like, here's a paragraph to read so you know what's going on in the game. Like, I want you to experience the game with your actions, what's happening on screen, what you're picking up, what you're fighting, and kind of let the story come into place with the mechanics and not just, some other medium like a video or a book. Someone's writing a story or something.
yeah, no, and I mean, I feel that when I sit down to play Isaac, I just, not to sound like too much of a Isaac noob, I just unlocked the D6 for Isaac recently, like within the last week. Because I hadn't unlocked the chest yet. So, like, that's just my level of Isaac play, but that's what I'm comfortable with. I don't want to...
It's totally fine. You just chip away at it as you go. You don't want to eat it all up like Cobalt or any of the other. I think Bisnap also ate it all up within the first week of release.
Yeah, no. Those guys, though, they're on a different level than I think a lot of people probably.
Yeah, no, they're on a different level than me. I mean, they when designing it is similar to Magic. Like, Isaac is very similar to the structure of Magic. I kind of design the game almost in a draft-like situation. If I ever do a sequel, I'll probably try this out, try to make this more obvious. But, like, let's say you're playing with Maggie, and Maggie's more, hit point based. She has more life, and she can regenerate more. You kind of lean towards a draft archetype, where it's like, hey, since I've got a lot of expendable life, I can lean towards items and strategies where I utilize my life as a resource, and different characters kind of do different things, and different item skill sets, like different item sets do different things. So if you start, hey, I'm starting to pick up a lot of Guppy items, or I found Guppy's foot or whatever else, you try to maximize the odds by opening up all the red chests you can, going into cursed rooms so you can find more Guppy pieces so you can become Guppy. And there's a lot of little draft strategies that go pretty deep that are very reminiscent of Magic draft rounds as well as just Magic play in general. And like you did bring up, like, there are items that are simply not great, but just like in Magic, you play with those if you draw them. You use them to the best of your ability. And there's something to that, I think, that makes things interesting. You can't just have an OP run every single time. Well, you can if you're the really crazy skilled players that can maximize the odds. But for the most part, people aren't always OP. And for every OP run, you've got to have a really shitty run. And it feels better sometimes to beat somebody with like a little 1/1 creature attacking every turn, getting through, than just winning by stomping the hell out of them every single time.
Yeah, by playing a primeval titan and then it's taking over the game or something like that.
Yeah.
Recently, one more Isaac thing, and we'll switch to what we're actually here to talk about. First item room, Book of Revelations. Okay, and I was like, I'm finally gonna get Meat Boy. And then I fought Conquest.
Yeah.
And I was
that is a definite flaw.
I want to punch Conquest in the face. I mean, beat Conquest.
I mean, in hindsight, I probably should. There's so many little things I want to fix, and there's a big update coming that is probably going to come alongside Afterbirth that updates the Lost and a bunch of stuff that you're not anywhere close to right now. But that is one of the things that I thought I didn't think. There's just so much going on in the game. I forget that you could run into Conquest as a horseman and he only drops one item. I really should have. The fix to that would be that he will drop both and then only pick up one. There's a new feature in Afterbirth. They're double treasure rooms, and much like you're not there yet, but there's the negative. No, yeah, you're there. The negative and the Polaroid, and you pick up one, the other one disappears.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that a lot more. Like I said before, like I'd like to be able to make it so the player has a bit more control over the direction of their build, and like kind of how they want to play. So giving options is good. Now, you kind of run into the whole then one item is clearly better than the other. But hopefully, if we do a sequel, I'll be able to balance the items a bit more. But yeah, I should fix that.
Did you play any of the Unholy Edition?
Did I play the Unholy Edition?
Not the Unholy Edition. The update that was done for original items.
Oh yeah. No, I can't say that I really did. I tested it out as Florian was sending it to me because he, whenever he put something in, he wanted my approval. Is this good? What do you think about this? That was the Eternal Edition.
Eternal Edition, that's it.
Yeah. That whole thing kind of came about where Florian was just bored and wanted to... He loves Isaac, he wanted to work on it, and he couldn't really work on Rebirth because he can't program in that language.
Right.
He knows Flash. And, he was like, I want to do something fun. I want to troll, I want to troll people. I'm like, all right. And I can tell you right now that I had to rope him in a few times. If you thought that the Eternal mode was trolly, you don't even know. It got much worse.
I know he's done a couple updates to tone it down a little.
Yeah.
I went in when it dropped, and I started playing it, and I picked up a double bomb, and one of them was really a troll bomb, and I was like, oh, this is a whole new level of mean. So
that's actually one thing I liked. There was a feature that he put in where sometimes if you pick up a bomb, instead of you picking it up, it'll just light the fuse and it'll become a troll bomb.
Yeah.
That's pretty cute. I like that. He definitely stumbled upon some really cool ideas for some enemy types as well as some more trolly aspects of Isaac's. Which you need that stuff in order to keep things interesting. But he did a good job.
No, I really like it. And somehow he found a way around some of the Flash problems.
Yeah, I don't even know what he did, but you level up as you go, and I guess he figured out a way to do it. For a while, we couldn't even open up the FLA because it would just crash it whenever he would try to publish it. But I think he got a new computer. He got a really good computer. It's still, I think the odds were 1 in 10 that it would, maybe more, 1 in 5 that it would just crash if you would try to publish it, which is a huge pain in the ass when you're trying to develop something and you're just tuning things and then trying to test them. But Flash was not made to do what we were doing with it.
Which is good because you've abandoned Flash. You've left it behind forever.
Seems like everybody's abandoned Flash at this point. I still use it for all my art, though. All my art animation for everything that I'm working on. I'm releasing a new game probably the next couple weeks called Fingered. And it's kind of a little game that me and James he did a lot of my trailers for all my different games. He's a video artist and programmer. And we made this game called Fingered, and I did it all in Flash, but he actually programmed it in some HTML5 or something.
Awesome. I don't know what HTML5 is, but that's just not where my level of computer junk is. But I'll track down Fingered when I can. Not sure. Don't spoil anything, of course, because But is it more like your like the basement collection level of games?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. It's
Okay.
more like a game from the basement collection for sure.
Okay.
It's more
Excellent.
like middle stuff. It's kind of like back to basics. I just want to make a fun game, and it started out as like a little weekend project, and then we worked on it for a couple months on the weekends. So it's a very small project, but it's pretty interesting. I haven't seen many things like it. It's weird. It's very weird, and I think people might appreciate the humor and oddness of it. It'll be super cheap too, so it won't be like it'll be a lot cheaper than it'll be the cheapest game that I have on Steam.
Excellent. Okay, so a couple starting out Magic questions. How long have you been playing?
I started playing during Revised, so like 94.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe
Mid 94 or
95.
something.
It was the summertime, so like summer of 94, the end of 94-ish.
Yeah.
I started playing, a friend of mine played Magic, and then we went to the boys club together during that summer. And he was like, "You got to see this game called Magic. It's really awesome." I'm like, "Oh." I'm watching these kids play, and I see this guy play a Keldon Warlord, and I'm like, "Whoa, that guy looks awesome. I like the art in it." And then he's like, "Yeah, he gets bigger depending on how many creatures you have in play." And that was like, that's what it sold me. It like instantly sold me. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So there's like you could make your own decks, and you could make it make sense to what your deck is. And I'm like, "Oh, I got to get some." So I think I had $10. I went to the local comic shop. They had a pack of Unlimited for $6.99. They had a pack of Legends for like $8.99, and then they had a starter pack of Revised that just came out, and I think it was $7.99. And I was like, well, I get like 60 cards in that one, so how about that?
Understandable, even though looking back to Unlimited.
And then I opened up a Bayou. And I was like Bayou. And the guy's like, it's worth $2. You can trade in. I think I had a couple different rares. I had the sought after card of that time was the dragon, Shivan Dragon.
Shivan, yeah.
And dual lands were worth $2 to $2.50. And I traded in my dual land and something else for another pack of revised cards, which I opened up of a Suvan Doppelganger.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
My favorite art.
It's great. It's amazing art. I just started a show where for the channel that I do stuff for, and I'm going to go through and review every set of Magic chronologically.
Yeah.
Because I just want to have something to do in my downtime. And so I just reviewed Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited as one show because they're basically the same set with a few exceptions.
Yeah.
And that art back then, before somebody that knows kind of more what they're doing with art, it's less comic booky. It's more, I feel, more artistic, and none of it's like computer animated or computer designed. So it's all just a different feel. The art now is a lot cleaner. You can tell what's going on, and it represents the cards better. But I love Anson Maddox, and I don't think he couldn't go to Wizards now as a starting out Wizards artist and go, "Hey guys, I want to do Magic art for you guys. What do you think of my?"
Times have definitely changed. Quentin Hoover is my favorite artist by far. Mark Tedden is probably the other one. I like Anson Maddox as well. I like the really weird stuff. The really can't remember his name, but there's a guy who did watercolor, and everything looked super complicated and really jagged, and just I think he did. Something Emissary. He did a lot of crazy looking complicated cards. I even like some of the more comic booky stuff from the Mirage time. There's the Carry On card, the dead thing full of maggots. It looked really super detailed. I think that was a comic artist, and I really like that stuff too. It's really interesting. A friend of mine for my birthday made me this big sheet, a big poster of all of Quentin Hoover's cards, all of them all together, chronologically, and you can kind of see as time goes by, the last cards that Quentin Hoover did, you wouldn't know that he did them because it was pretty obvious that Wizards told him that let's move towards this new look where things look more realistic, not as stylized, You know, like he has a card in Standard right now. He has the new Mana Dork that costs 2 is a 2/1.
The Leaf Gilder.
Yeah, Leaf Gilder. That's him. That's Quentin Hoover. And you would never think that it was him because his style was so insane back in the day with like Regeneration and even Wrath of God and stuff like that. Like, so iconic, but they kind of, you know, muted it in a way.
I mean, he did Ball Lightning.
He did a lot of really fucking cool stuff. Like, he did some great cards.
No, yeah, he...
But yeah, in the end, well, he's dead now.
Yes,
sadly,
unfortunately.
He died. But the last cards that he did a bunch of those Rebels, which you wouldn't think either that he did. A bunch of white ones.
Right.
They just blend in with every other card. I don't know. I'm a bit critical of Wizards' choice. I can understand how they are going for a brand. They want it to look, you know, uniform. They want everything to look the same. And they want it to look pretty realistic and not so stylized, and I guess they're trying to move away from all that stuff. But I almost feel like it would be very appropriate and very nostalgic for them in some sort of summer set, like maybe another Modern Masters or something, if they were to go backwards and like get some almost pop artists to come in and do some cool art for some cards. I think it's time. I mean, I'd even appreciate some Stasis art, man. Like, just give me some weird stuff again. I like it. I don't know. There's something about it that feels magic to me. It feels that's what I grew up with. I guess it's probably just nostalgia, but I like the range of art instead of just having everything look the same.
It does definitely. The Stasis art feels like you're just never gonna get to do anything for the rest of your life. That's just sitting there going, why am I still playing? But I pulled up all the Quentin Hoover cards. He did Whispers of the Muse, which is just an insane, like a personal favorite card of mine. And he did the original Wrath of God art, which is so iconic to Magic. So
yeah, that's a badass card.
Yeah, we don't get it anymore. He even did my favorite Hymn to Turok art, which I didn't realize. So, but yeah, no, great artist. Let's see. Okay, and so playing... maybe about a year longer than I have. Favorite color?
I did stop. I stopped. I saved up. How old was I? I was probably 17 maybe when Ice Age came out. I saved up for my first box of Magic cards, $89, and I got a box of Ice Age when it came out, on the day it came out. I was so excited. And Ice Age was the set that stopped me from playing Magic. It was like the worst set ever. And it was like on the... right after, like, Homelands and a bunch of other bad sets. Oh, and, what was that really bad mini set that they did?
Fallen Empires?
Fallen Empires, yeah, all around that time. It was like, that was bad. That was a bad time. Bad time for all Magic players.
The thing about Fallen Empires is, like, thematically, it was amazing because all of the colors were fighting themselves, right? But the execution was just so poor. Not only that, but you could open a pack and get, like, 5 of the same card because they hadn't figured out correlation yet.
They weren't rares. They were uncommons, right?
Yeah, it was commons and uncommons. You got, like, 2 uncommons and the rest were commons.
At least we got him, right?
Him, and there's a couple other fringe playables, but him is, like, the big card from the set.
Oh, yeah, but there's also High Tide.
High Tide is another good... kind of forgotten, loved card from Fallen Empire.
Back in the day, I remember that time, though, everybody was running the mono-black Necropotence, and everybody ran all the Order of the Ebon Hand guys.
Yeah, Black Summer or Black Winter, whatever you call it, just because of all the Necro, and then Stasis came along. One of the guys on the podcast is, his name is Dan Horning. He was a Swedish national champion during that time frame. And so he's got a lot of stories of Necro, playing Stasis, playing other decks that are really interesting if you can get past his Swedish accent, which is really hard to work with. But so yeah, my first box of Magic ever was Homelands.
Yeah.
Which is just such a stinker of a set. Just And you could tell, like, at that point, they were still having, like, people from all over the greater United States and Canada design sets for them on the fly, and they were like, do whatever you want to do, and then we'll add our own flavor when we get the cards. So, like, sometimes they were like, well, this set is going to end up being about this, and then the mechanics wouldn't make any sense, and
Yeah.
so, like, Magic was a mess. It's better now, but, like,
It's a hell of a lot better now.
but sometimes you feel like maybe those earlier sets maybe had a little more fun to them. I feel like having less
I can
balance.
understand, like, I remember in recent sets, I've noticed that there are a lot of people who were like, yeah, like, Dragons was a great set, but I don't know, I just didn't like drafting it. And I think that a lot of that comes from the fact that Dragons was one of the better sets when it comes to how well they balance things. There was no one way to go that would always win, and I feel that people don't like that much.
Yeah.
I feel like the like level playing field, people like, wait, no, I want to dominate. Like, I want to draft mono red and dominate, you know?
People want to go into an archetype that they know and just jam it every time they draft.
Just take it to the end when it's not, you know, they're so tuned and so balanced that it's not a guarantee. You're not going to just dominate with one draft strategy, which is definitely something, I mean, I know from experience that I used to do. Like, you know, you just draft this, and if you get the cards, you're good to go.
And that's why the good players that can read signals and jump around and stuff are good players, and that's why I never play limited on MTGO, because I know I'm just wasting my money. Because there's always guys that are grinding those queues and stuff. So, but Dragons was a decent set. I didn't care for Megamorph. I felt it was a little kiddly as far as the ability. They could have done more with it, but overall, I liked the design of the set. I really liked Exploit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than I should. Did you watch any of Pro Tour Origins this weekend? I don't know if your schedule allows that.
I'm not. Yeah, my Magic fanaticism doesn't go that deep in, like, Pro Tour stuff. I don't know who's doing what and what's being played. Like, I stick to drafting Standard and playing Cube.
Well, this weekend, the only reason to bring it up is the whole thing was won by a guy playing an Insult Artifact deck, which is the enchantment from M15 that turns an artifact into a 5/5 creature.
Yeah.
Crazy. Just, like, insane deck. Just really fun to watch. Not that it was the most fair environment, but... But yeah, I like watching high level play, so I like to watch the stream on Twitch, just because watching pros play, like, you glean things from what they do. I do, so I like watching that. But so favorite color, I don't know if you're a player that has one, or favorite card overall, like, since the beginning of the game.
My favorite color, I mean, it's blue.
Okay.
But I always lean towards blue. I like playing control. I don't know, but I mean, I'm all over the place. I never really lean any direction when I'm drafting, especially in Cube. I sometimes will lean away from blue because I know it's overdrafted, and I know, like, I want to beat the blue player with some awesome synergy than, you know, anything else.
Yeah, people found blue in Cube. They just love blue.
I'll splash blue if I get some broken cards. But, yeah, my favorite card's probably Remand.
Oh. Remand it's an elegant card.
I think it's a really, really, really great card. I think it's one of those cards that has different levels to it, and depending on the level of the player, you see it as different things. Like, I will swear up and down that is a Time Walk. That is an early game Time Walk, and I will love to play it always. Other people will be like, well, I just put the card back in their hand. They're going to just play it again. And I don't know, it's just the perfect tempo card. It is almost a Time Walk. It is an awesome card, and I love it. And
It's in
And
it's in
it's
my
so
queue.
simple.
No, I mean, and it's just I guess it's always going to be the play level of the person you're playing, where they may not understand that tempo hit yet.
Yeah.
But no, I love Remand. I see in your cube, at least online, you're rocking the original art, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see, other topics of interest. Well, one of the reasons, besides the fact that I love your games and all that I wanted you to come on, is you actually got to design a card for M15, Cruel Sadist, and I have it brought up on screen, because unfortunately it wasn't one of the standout cards from M15. It couldn't really compete with like Goblin Rabble Master or Genesis Hydra, some of the other cards that actually were played out of M15. But what was the process like for what you can talk about and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I had, it was essentially like, hey, throw some stuff at us. And I think some of the other players kind of just have general ideas, like I want to have a card that kills lands, or I want to have a card that is based around this joke, and then you figure it out, sort of things. For me, I had, it's one of those, I wish I could go back in time and do a different card. It sounds so stupid, but the whole time, like, I'm thinking, like, oh my god, I'm making a Magic card. It's got to be awesome. Like, I got to do something cool. It's got to feel like something I would do. It's got to be something I'd play. It's all this other stuff. And I had a shitload of cards that I proposed, and there was a cycle that I proposed to them that I wanted them to kind of choose from, and it was a cycle of children, and they were all 1-drops, and I'm a big fan of 1-drops, and especially good ones. And I kind of wanted to push that and see where I could go with it. And they liked the green one, the blue one, and the black one. And the green one was just like a little Fungasaur. I think it was like it was an O2 Fungasaur that cost 1 green and had flash.
Oh, that would actually work a lot better than the original Fungasaur.
Yeah. And that was cute, and maybe I should have gone that direction, because that was straight up there, like, that would work. Perfect. It's like, I don't know, the blue one is the one I like the most. The blue one was a 1-drop that was an 0-1 that could untap a land, but only on your opponent's turn, which I think is neat, and I don't think has really been done, but they said due to core set, like, they want to stay away from more complicated things, like only on the other player's turn type stuff, like extra rule sets that haven't been in place. So they shied away from that. But, I like the idea. It feels blue. It's a green thing that blue should do. Like being able to play on their turn, activate artifacts, that sort of stuff, I think is kind of neat. And then there was the black one, which was originally, I believe, designed as a very simplistic 1-drop 1/1 that you could tap it, pay a life, put a counter, or 1/1 counter on it, tap it, remove all counters, and shoot anything. And that was it. It was a really super simplistic, elegant card. I thought it was cool, and since it was black, I felt like it would fit me a bit more, and I decided to push with that. And for a long time, it stayed as that design, which I feel like is pretty damn good. And when they went through testing it, I started to get pushback where it's like, oh, we're trying it out. It's a bit too good. But see, I'm in the dark when it comes to anything else. Like they don't even give me any information on the set. All I'm doing is designing this card. And if I say, hey, let's try this, and they say, no, that's not going to work, and I say, why? They don't say anything. They can't tell me. They can't tell me any information on any sets that haven't been revealed or the set that's coming out. It's just about the card. So a lot of the times I'll be like, "Wow, what's going on?" And they'll be like, "We can't, there's a conflict with the card in an upcoming set, so we can't do that." So I saw as the card got powered down, and it stands now as you have to pay 1 black, tap it, pay a life to put a counter on it, and you have to pay 3 to shoot something with it. And you can only hit creatures. You used to be able to hit players. And I later found out, when the new set comes out, that it was all because of the whole Outlast stuff.
Oh.
So, it was all because if you could get counters on a card and shoot things so easily like that, I mean, the next set was based around putting counters on. I know, like, I inadvertently designed a card that fit into a guild.
You did. It actually is Abzan.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't even think about that, but it is a really good Abzan card. It would have fit really nicely into cons.
So yeah, so like I designed around something that would have been too good with the next set, and I got a power down, which is it was still good. You know, I still got to play with it and draft with it, and saw people play with it, which is cool. But yeah, sadly, it wasn't the elegant design that I initially pushed for, but understandably so. They had to fix it.
Awesome. I mean, did you have any urge? No, probably not, just because you're a Magic nerd, to go like the Guruk's Wet Chili Fart route or anything like that.
Yeah, no. I wanted to stay away from any like jokey joke stuff or any self-referential stuff. I wanted to make a Magic card. You know, I'm a Magic fan, and I wanted to make a Magic card.
And you definitely, I mean, you did. Unfortunately, yeah, M15 was kind of just an overall odd set. It felt like not like a core set, it felt like a greatest hit sort of set. And I mean, it released right before or right after they made the announcement that it was going to be the second to last core set, with Origins being the last core set.
Yeah.
So I felt like they did it in a strange spot. But I feel sad to see the core sets go.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going, it might, I don't know, it might make things interesting. Maybe there's going to be, I mean, do they have to make another set to replace it?
They're doing it's going to be 3 blocks a year from now on.
Every single one?
Yeah, so Battle for Zendikar will come out, and then 3 months later, set 2 will come out. Then 3 months later, a big set, then a small set, then a big set and a small set. And that'll be the whole year of Magic. So we're going to get 3 different blocks a year, basically. No more third sets, no more core set.
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to be more concentrated, like they can do a lot better with the mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a financial decision, realistically. Like, core sets just simply don't sell as well.
I mean, if I love Origins, but...
Origins is not... Dude, like, Origins is so not a core set. Like, Origins is a draft set. Like, that Origins feels like Modern Masters when it comes to the draft environment and the archetypes. It's one of the better sets that they've done, I think. It's probably one of the best, draft-wise, one of the best... I'd say the best core set that they've ever done.
I mean, are you taking 5th edition into that with its 529 cards? I mean, come on.
I don't remember that.
Oh gosh, it was gigantic, and it was in Standard for like almost 2 years. So like, you really got familiar with them, or with 5th edition way back in the day, because yeah, it just sat there for months and months and months. And
well, yeah, I should mention I didn't finish my thought from before.
Oh, okay.
So I stopped playing Magic around Ice Age, but then I got back into Magic when Ravnica appeared.
Oh wow, that's a long break.
Yeah, so I had a big gap there of just not playing Magic. I had friends that played Magic, so I got like random updates, like when Dark Steel and stuff was happening. I got these like, dude, there's people are making decks now that win on turn 2 and they're broken as hell. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, doesn't sound that great. But the thing is see, I didn't know. No one drafted when I was playing. There was no drafting.
Oh.
Like, I didn't know anybody who drafted. I knew nothing about it. So I was just, I didn't know shit until, Ravnica popped out, and then it was like, hey, there's this new set. It looked really appealing to me. I can't place why. It just looked really good, and the mechanics made sense. And then someone's like, you should draft, and I'm like, what's draft? And then they explained it, and I was completely sold. And, like, drafting Magic is just really addicting and very fun. I kind of jumped back into it. And even though I was much older, I got thrown, man, they were ruthless.
I can say, like, Ravnica, original Ravnica, Wizards, like, they went all out to make that, like, the most appealing, like, set, draft environment for constructed. It's gorgeous. The art's amazing. The design. It's a little weaker now because they took damage off the stack, and that was a big part of, like, a lot of the cards in the set, but it's gorgeous. So But
yeah, I really got into it, and then that was the second box of Magic. Like, I drafted it a few times, and I was like, I'm buying a box of Magic cards, and I broke out all my old cards. There's a sad part to this story. This happened around Meat Boy development time, and I think the thing that got me back into it was because in order to make ends meet, I ended up selling almost all my collections of everything, and so I sold all my NES games. I had like 450 NES carts, like a whole collection. I sold all those. I sold my whole DVD collection from back then and a bunch of video games. And then I started selling all my Magic cards. And I sold all my dual lands and a bunch of other stuff to just make enough money to kind of finish Meat Boy. And but in doing so and putting them up, I started seeing other cards, and it got me interested. And eventually I started moving back towards it. And then I think Ravnica pulled me back in and really kind of was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I think everybody has like a sell-off story, but not everybody ends their sell-off story with, oh yeah, and I have this awesome, incredibly hard platforming game that makes some people pull their hair out trying to play.
Yeah, Meat Boy definitely helped when it came to getting all the cards that I kind of sold off. That when I started getting into Cube, I had to, I needed all these cards in order to make a cube, and I was like, oh shit, I sold so many of them. But the cool thing was I actually found some old cards that I just had that I didn't sell because I didn't realize that they were worth anything, and I had a this is my coolest treasure story for Magic. I went to the flea market, and this was when I wasn't playing Magic, and I saw 2 decks. I don't remember what set it was, but you probably know once I tell you the cards that were in it. They were just 2 starter boxes. I bought them, I looked through the cards, put them away, forgot about them. And then around Ravnica, when I started playing again, I broke them out, looked through them, pilfered them for a deck, put them back. And then when I started to get into Cube, and I was like, okay, I need to get these cards, I'm looking through, and I'm looking through my cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have those starters. And I looked through, and the starters weren't starters. They were decks that somebody made and just put in those packs.
Wow.
And there were 2 show and tells, and 2 that blue counter where you can toss a blue card and pay a life.
Oh, Force of Will.
Force of Will. So that was rad.
That's that's like American Pickers level find. That's like, oh, I found this gold here in my bedroom. So
it was rad. Like I think I ended up trading away, because there were 2 of each. Trading away the doubles so I could get a bunch of other cube cards, and then of course put Show and Tell and Force of Will in the cube.
Yeah, absolutely. I have your cube brought up right now. I love the full token support. I love it. It's like, why am I going to play with token producing cards if I don't go ahead and get the tokens? I need them. So it's like the best way to bling out your cube. But your cube is fully blinged. Like, you have the full art lands, you have the Power 9, so...
Full disclosure, that Power 9 is actually Collector's Edition Power 9. They're still the most valuable cards in my cube.
By far, I mean, the Collector's Edition Power 9 isn't too much less expensive than the Power 9, I mean...
Yeah, like I bought me, George, and Andy Hull. So Andy Hull is the programmer for Spelunky. He's the guy who got me into Cube. George is also he's the guy that designed Genesis Hydra, and he made Plants vs. Zombies. These are my ultra nerdy Magic friends who got me into Cube. They showed me the way. And George had got his hands on a collector's edition for like $800 or something. This was quite a few years ago. And I was like, I need that. And then I kept bidding on them on eBay for $800, but I refused to pay more than what George paid. So I saw, as the months went by of me being stubborn and not wanting to pay more than what he paid, I saw it go up to like $1,500. And now it's up to like $2,500.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, there's not a lot of them out there. And I think people just like... are just waiting for the price just to like skyrocket. I mean, $2,000 isn't a small amount, but I didn't know.
It's pretty astounding though to think that the most valuable cards in my cube aren't real. Like they're not. they're not real in the sense of, you know, Magic.
A lot of like older vintage tournaments, legacy tournaments, they allow proxies, they allow collector's edition, and I think that's why. I think they're always going to have a value because they're in a lot of the tournaments that you can play those cards. They're as good as having Alpha Black Lotus in your deck. So, but
yeah, I'm not the type of person that no matter what, you know, if I became Notch tomorrow, I don't feel right about purchasing a card for that amount of money. I would just feel weird about playing with it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's more of an investment and less of a card at that point.
Yeah, like if I had a card that was worth that much, I would feel weird about playing with it, and I feel like other people would be weird about handling it.
Yeah, and you would always, I mean, unfortunately, in the world, you would always feel weird about having it out of your sight during the cube environment. Like, okay, who drafted the Black Lotus? Okay, you have to come build your deck next to me, and you have to play next to me for the rest of the night.
Like, I don't know, you know Tristan Gregson?
Yeah.
So he has an insane cube, like a crazy fucking cube. Everything's foiled, and he has all real everything. And he takes that whole cube places and has people drafted, and I'm like, how do you do it? And he's like, oh, you know, no one's going to steal anything. Like, it's like, he counts the cards, of course, after and make sure everything's there. But he says he's run into a few missing cards, but they were never valuable cards. It was just like random misplaced whatever.
Well, that's nice. I think the cube community, like, if you find people that are into cube, they kind of have a respect for cube for the most part.
Yeah.
That they're like, I don't want to break up this wonderful collection of insane plays. I don't want to steal from a cube. I'm going to go steal from the comic book. No, I'm joking. But Cube has become my favorite format. Just because I had a lot of fun. It took me like a year to design my cube, and then like 3 months to put it together. Because I was really concerned about balance, and I wanted to get good cards, and I don't think they do enough to support Cube Online, unfortunately, and it's really hard to get 8 people together to draft Cube for me. So it's awesome that like you have a good play group that comes over to your house.
I'm definitely grateful for the fact that I can usually get 8 people to draft Cube, and they're all. It's taken years. I mean, it's taken years to get friends and or acquaintances that I can tolerate. You know what I mean? Like, there's some questionable people who play Magic, and that questionable personality gets worse as it goes up in skill level. So when people are drafting Cube, you get some nerds out there who don't have the social skills to pay the bills, and I've run through quite a few of them, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you a try. I play with you at the mall. We'll see how you act at my house, and nope.
I mean, inviting somebody into the inner sanctum is a whole different level than drafting in a comic book shop. Because in the comic book shop, you don't have to really worry about things like personal grooming, their respect of stuff around them.
Yeah.
But within your house, you have a lot more invested into your environment.
Yeah.
So now, completely understandable. That's been my kind of general experience with Magic, going all the way back to high school, where I would go in on a Friday night and play Magic, and then go back in the next Friday night, and one of the guys, and great player, he was like, in my state back then, there was like the state championships, and for like 3 years in a row, he was like the Kansas state champion. But he would literally be wearing the same shirt. Not the same shirt that he had washed and stuff, but like the same shirt that had like formed a bond with him, like Spider-Man in the black suit. Like, oh man, this rank, but I don't think I ever beat him. I mean, that's my second clearest memory, is like one time I played him and he was playing a sealed deck, and I was playing my constructed deck, and he still beat me. I was like, wow, I feel like
it's always the worst. Like, I've had bad experiences with assholes, actual assholes online who will be talking major shit, and then I'm like, luckily it's usually in the cube environment, and when I play cube online, I rarely play seriously. I'm playing for some weird fringe shit that just goes on forever, but I still do well. I still usually go infinite when I'm playing cube, and every once in a while I'll run into the asshole that wants to tell me I suck. And then I can rub it in when I beat him. But I have lost twice to two different guys who are total dicks, and it hurt deeply. It's like, you shouldn't. God, you're telling me how much I suck the whole time, and now you're winning. God.
I mean, the Powered Cube. I will go and do the Powered Cube when they bring it back, the Holiday Cube, because it's insane. It's always good, even if they bring in some underpowered cards from the latest set. It's always amazing. So
like Jeskai Ascension, wow. I could see your last picks from a million miles away. Why are you adding these 3-color cards that no one will play?
Especially wedge cards. Let's just cram a whole bunch of wedge cards in there. But there's no wedge support in the cube. Why are you doing that? But
there's some odd choices for sure. I don't understand why they don't put up cube more often. Why? They would get so much more money from me if Modern Masters 1, 2, Old Zendikar, and Cube and Holiday Cube were cycled constantly.
I think they like to keep them attractions for people.
I just want to play more. God.
I just want to play more Cube. I just want to abandon the rest of my life.
Or even Vintage Masters. I played the hell out of that too.
Oh, I did 5 Vintage Masters drafts, and I got forced into red white each time. And I was like, oh, this set sucks. Oh, I hate it. But that's just because people were drafting me.
Dude, I got beat. I got pretty good at Vintage Masters at the end, and almost every single deck I played in the finals was red white.
I never got there. I won 2 out of the 5 I did off of my red white, just because the stupid goblin that they dropped. Yeah, dudes. That guy is just crazy good for 4 mana.
Red white had all the crazy 4 drops. They have a guy that gained you a bunch of life and was this giant wall.
Yeah,
and a bunch of that's usually how I died. I would tend to force black. What was it? Black white. Black
white was really good.
They had all those really junky 1 and 2 drop cards that were just extremely aggressive in black, and then Spinal Graft and stuff. The stuff that no one would play. That's what I really loved about Vintage Masters is there was these junk cards out there that made the strongest damn deck in the world. You could just stomp people to hell with it.
You just had it all to yourself. Nobody else wanted it.
And then, of course, there was the end where I drafted Storm and tried to force Storm for 10. I spent too much money, way too much money in that, and I think I tried to force Storm 10 times. And lost, of course, all but 1, I think. And then when I won, I was like, yeah, I'm done. One Storm.
You were like,
it's so frustrating because Storm was so... Oh my god, it was so fun. It was so fun to play. But you never won. And the cool thing about playing Storm, though, is even if you win or don't win, the other person's just, clapping on the other end. It's yeah, kudos to you for trying. That was... Good job. You did it.
No, I play... my format of choice online is Pauper, which is the all-common format. It's kind of a fringe format. And Storm was a nemesis, a keyword for a long time in Pauper. And then Wizards banned all the Storm cards. So, anytime you talk about Storm and you're talking to somebody who is Pauper-based, I'm like, empty the Warrens. There's no answers. There's no answers. So, and then I often will just run around my room panicking, rending at flesh, ripping of clothes. But that's just kind of, when you're a Pauper player, you have bad memory. Other Magic designers, both of those games, Spelunky is amazing.
For sure.
And the other game, Plants vs. Zombies, even a tower defense game my wife will play.
Yeah.
So that's saying a whole bunch because she's more on the Tomb Raider.
Did you realize that Plants vs. Zombies is also based around magic?
No.
The whole thing is structured around mana base and casting cards that are right in the generator.
The sun?
It's all there, dude. It's all magic.
It is. That's amazing. And Spelunky, it's clearly based around Fallen Empires, right?
Totally.
Totally.
Every single time I play, I feel like I'm hymning myself.
Every time I'm just playing Ikeation Money Keepers and killing myself with them.
Yeah.
That thing was a horrible card. Well, I feel like I've kept you for about an hour, which is about the amount of time that I wanted to spend talking to you. Do you have anything that you want to, I don't know, pimp or want to... I'll put a link to your cube in the show notes to get people to go out there and draft it. I know getting feedback from people is a good way to go about, like, hey, I love your cube, but like these were my 12 last picks and they're all garbage.
Yeah, I definitely need more statistics on my cube. I like feedback, I like non-completely socially retarded feedback. That's always good. Just tell me. I like to know the best way to ask the questions is, why did you choose to put this card in over this? Because then it makes me think like, oh, should I be playing this card over this card, or why am I doing that? And it gives me a dialogue to kind of go with, which is always fun. But
on Cube Tutor, I'm VBH, which is my short for my handle Vaultboyhunter. I couldn't get Vaultboyhunter for some strange reason. So you might look, and I did I did 2 this morning because I was up with heartburn. Don't get old. And so I did a Simic deck based around opposition and tokens.
Yeah.
And I would play that in any environment. Like, literally, I would take that to a standard tournament, sit down with this 40-card deck, and I probably would lose. But it had Jitty, it had a sword, and then I drafted a Esper control deck, because that's kind of where I live. I love Esper and Cube. I didn't really do good feedback because I feel like outside of the conspiracy cards, because they're really hard to, there's no good representation on how they would actually function in a real draft environment. I feel like your cube is amazing. So there's very few duds in it.
Well,
I don't think so.
Definitely ones. I honestly think I feel like all but Gideon, new Planeswalker wise, I feel like they might be duds. They need more testing, of course. George is pleading with me to test him out more, of course. But I've been playing with them a lot online, and it's like, especially with Jace, almost every single time I don't want to flip him, and the fact that I can't choose not to is weird.
Oh, you just want to keep the loot effect on the board.
Yeah, I just want the loot, and I feel like the looter that I took out to replace him is actually better and supports more archetypes. But I don't know. I'll try it more. Like, George's argument was, of course, what if you've got recall in your graveyard? Then it's awesome. But I don't know. Like, Spells Matters is pretty supported. It's even in 3 colors at this point. So maybe it doesn't do enough. I don't know. But yeah, and then of course the Thopter card. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I just started another cube. I've been kind of going through the process of, I have a lot of foil cards, and I don't really use foil cards in my cube. And I'm like, well, what if I made a secondary cube that was a 360 cube and I could support Storm? So I was trying to build around a 360 cube that's very powered, very small, and supports Storm. And one of the biggest changes to my current cube is I think I'm going to move almost all, except for the better conspiracies from that, and put them in the powered cube, or the 360 cube, because I think the 360 cube is going to be extremely explosive and really broken, just by making it simply smaller, and it's going to support Storm and more fringy kind of infinite mana type combo-y things, and stuff that you can get away with supporting in a smaller cube only, and they don't really work in like a 500 plus.
Because you just don't get enough pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna attempt that, and I think I'm gonna move the conspiracies over to that. I think
Awesome.
not all of them. I mean, do you play with conspiracies at all in your?
In mine, I'm gonna get all of them and then have them separate, and then I'm gonna be like, hey, do you guys want to draft with the wacky draft cards? Do you want to put the conspiracies in?
Backup plan is the highest pick in my cube.
That's the... Which one is that? I have your cube up, so...
You get 2 hands. You draw 14 cards in 2 hands, and you choose which hand you want.
And then you put 1 back.
And then you put 1 back, shuffle it up.
Let's see. That's really good.
Phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. Like, it's the fact that you don't... It's not like you mulligan. It's not like free mulligan. It's literally 2 hands. So you're taking 14 cards off the top of your library and then realizing what's going back in and maximizing odds. It's really, really good. And of course, double stroke, I think it is, the card that doubles whatever card you play.
Right.
That is busted. That is a power level. Those 2 cards are power level when it comes to... I do a rotisserie draft sometimes, put everything on the table and have people pick 1 by 1, and those are definitely right in the power slot as far as when you pick them.
I feel like
unexpected backup plan first.
I feel like unexpected potential would be a good one too. The Birth of Paradise one.
In terms of awesome sauce.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? Any of your game stuff that's coming out, or?
Oh yeah, I don't know if anybody who plays Magic will care as much as anybody else. I don't know. Draft my cube. That'll help me out. But yeah, I've got let's see I've got Fingered coming out in the next 2 weeks, which will be super cheap and it'll be on Steam only. I've got Afterbirth coming out in the next 2 months, hopefully before our baby is born. That's my ideal.
Congratulations, and, by the way. I didn't know if you were talking about that or a bunch or any of that.
I don't talk about it on Twitter because fuck them,
right.
None of anybody's business. I try to keep the personal stuff to a minimum on there because a lot of those people just, who cares? But on podcasts, whatever else. It's
awesome. My wife and I just had, my son's going to be 2 in 2 weeks. And all I can say is I don't know how you're going to continue to be as prolific, put out the stuff that you put out with a small child. So you're going to have to, I don't know, start doing amphetamines or something? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, but...
Yeah, honestly, me and my wife were together for 15 years before we decided to do this. 16 years, actually, coming up in October. And, this was a very thought-out thing, and I'm more than happy to have my daughter as my next major project who takes over.
You're having a girl? That's awesome. That's...
But there's another thing too. Me and my wife don't work, in quotes, So I'd like to think that we may have more time than most people to do our own stuff as well as Of course, the baby's going to take control over everything, but
just remember.
I feel like the extra freedom is definitely I'm glad I was able to work for this extra freedom because we will utilize it for her as much as we possibly can.
Just remember, in the dark of the night, those first 3 months, it gets better. It just always gets better. And then your child will pee on you while you're sitting on the couch and make you question things. But one last thing, just because I'm pretty sure you get this all the time, walking down the street in your home city.
Yeah.
After birth, okay, I have a suggestion for a trinket. Because I'm a dork. Okay.
Give it to me.
A item that you get from fire that works with petrified poop or lucky rock that increases the drop rate from fires.
From fires?
And I like Dad Zippo is my idea because it's elegant and it fits with the theme, but because there's nothing like that, and there's fires all the way through as opposed to the poops and the stones that are only in the early game.
That is not at all a bad suggestion. It's definitely something that is a welcome addition. But I don't know if it will make it in because we already closed the book on that. I'm doing a post. I just did a post right before we started this about a new item as well as a new enemy, and I think I go into detail about how there's 530 items now in the game, so there's a shitload of items.
There's going to be stuff that I never see.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's where I want to be.
That's
Nobody
amazing.
knows what's up.
Okay, well, I do want to thank you for coming on, and everybody drop this cube, even if you're like a cube noob, because noobs give a different, perspective on the cube. And that's it. If you ever want to come back on or anything, let me know. And thanks. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Wow, Sam, that's a great interview.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
I really wanted to keep it under an hour, but we went a little long because Edmund, great guy, like super nerdy into magic, and I probably went a little too hard into my love of independent gaming, and he's kind of like one of the big faces of it. So I'm sorry if that part of it was boring for any of the Magic fans out there, but I mean, you don't get to talk to somebody like Edmund Mcmillen every day of the week, so I had to totally geek out. It would be like meeting, I don't know, like a Viking, an actual real Viking to Dan, or one of those guys died at the Alamo for Brennon. I don't know. I mean,
I get to meet Davy Crockett.
Yeah, exactly. You guys go on like a double date. Go out to Sock Hop and have some drinks from a soda jerk or whatever.
Right.
So you could say,
but it was.
You could say that it was like meeting a Viking that died at the Alamo.
Oh man, things have went wrong with continuity if that has happened. And he gave me a couple tips on other independent game guys that might be interested to come on the show.
Nice.
So that might be something I pursue if everybody likes it or dislikes it.
I like it. Do it.
Yeah, he was
My show, damn it.
He was super cool, and we'll probably I haven't really talked about it, but we probably will put the interview up maybe separately just for people that just want the content from the interview.
I was thinking maybe the interview should go on Hard Nerd Cafe, actually.
Yeah, I kind of think that, just because there is so much video game talk in it. Like, we talk about video games for about 25 minutes of the hour, and then the rest of it's magic.
Right.
And then we come back to video games at the end.
All right, Dan.
Yes.
What's up?
I
My
played Standard Pauper against Roberto, actually.
Oh, yeah? How did it go?
It's not up on the channel yet, but it will be today. Roberto did bring a new sweet brew, green-black deck. And I played Mono Black Exploit with Treasure Cruises. So It was grindy and nice, the way we love it. And now somebody spoiled it. Okay, I got my ass kicked. I admit it.
Hey, I just asked him.
There was a lot of graveyard value and delve involved.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't keep up with it. It was traumatic.
They got medications for that, Dan.
They
They got
do.
medications for that.
And then I, as a patron of MagicGatheringStrat at patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat, you get to make deck requests. And I'm always on the Patreon, so please make some deck requests. And this week they did, and it was all Pauper, so we have enjoyed a couple of Pauper matches. I played Rakdos Glass Cannon, Mono Blue Tron, and good old Trinket. And I noticed that the Trinket video got more views than anything else I posted the last week. So people still remember the
Trinket
deck
is
that I made.
super popular.
Sorry?
I'll say Trinket's super popular.
Yeah, it
It's
was
so
the
fun
first
to-
video ever on this YouTube channel, and yeah, people still remember it. Good old blue black Trinket control.
I know, I was excited to see it go up. I watched it immediately while I was barbecuing chicken. outside. I just had to ingest it into my brain.
Yeah, I watched it I watched it about 2 hours. Yep. It's fun. It's such a great deck. There's all kinds of moving
in
parts.
Some Gurmag anglers, but I have to get the blessing of Power T to do it. And he's lost in the Swedish woods during the summer.
Still? Oh, he stays up there?
He goes into hiding somewhere. And it's very hard to reach him.
I understand.
Also
sometimes you just gotta go walk about. Right?
Yeah, you can probably guess which deck I played.
Soul Sisters.
No, it was Red Green Tron.
Correct.
And the match will feature the match will feature Humble Defector.
What?
It's the 2/1 guy for 1 red and a colorless, and you can tap.
Oh, I know,
but draw 2 cards.
What is he doing in that deck? Yeah. Why is he in that deck?
He's not in Red Green Tron. He's in the opponent's deck.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, I played Magic Duels Origins, which we're gonna do after that if Sam is still up for it.
Yeah, I'll come on for a while. That sounds great.
Oh.
I can't stay on too late tonight because I have an appointment tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'm totally down.
Nice.
Sounds good. There
Yeah.
are. I got a deck for duels. It was green black. It was a Simic artifacts from Captain Charisma. So I played that on 2 videos on the reserve channel. And I ran into interesting software problems. That's why they are on the reserve channel.
Yeah, it's a mess since it went wide. I still, I downloaded it and I still can't get in. I just get a black screen of death.
Wow.
We might not actually be able to play tonight, Dan, because they took the servers down.
Oh no. We shall try at least.
The Steam servers. Yeah, we'll try. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my stuff. Do I have announcements? Do I? I don't think so. Not right now.
I don't remember announcements. Other than,
You're breaking up to me.
oh. Well, I can hear me just fine.
Good.
You wanted to talk about the Season 3 of the Gauntlet. I do remember that.
The Pauper Gauntlet starts on November 8th. I'm still looking for patrons first, but now maybe I should be looking for more people. There are a couple of decks that the top 10 decks of the second season of the Pauper Gauntlet are automatically qualified for the Pauper Gauntlet Season 3. And I need people to make decklist decisions and sideboard plans. And the decks in question are Exhume Control, Burn, Affinity, and I got the Stompy Captain. There is another deck. I have to look at the forum post. So if anyone feels they have a strong grasp of these decks, then please let me know. It's Goblins as well. So 4 decks: Exhume Control, Goblins, Affinity, and Burn. I have managed to get the old brewers and stuff to captain their decks, the other decks. So it's those 4 that I need help.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I think the Pauper Gauntlet will be at least 4 months. So we have something to do during the winter.
Trying to say, I guess I don't save the picture. Right.
If you don't know what the Pauper Gauntlet is, you are in for a ride. Starting November 8th.
Here, let me see. Let me bring this up. I'll show chat. See if they like this picture.
Oh yeah. It's the logo of the new Pauper Gauntlet.
Yeah. Do.
It conveys the feeling that I want to convey.
Come on.
Pauper. Is your computer
Good.
burning?
Give me just. It's out to catch on fire. It's trying to do the second thing. Wow. There we go. Oh my god. These are all. This is the PowerPoint I use to make all my logos. Yes, I do it in PowerPoint.
PowerPoint is the best.
I love it.
It's full of points and powers.
What do you guys think?
Gauntlet is misspelled.
The gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
Oops. The gauntlet. So, what do you chat?
Yeah, the guy to the upper left, that's me, and the guys at the bottom, those are the decks.
Yeah. Punch in the face. There's a goblin over there laughing at everybody.
That's Sam.
That's Sam. Ha ha ha.
Oh god, Roberto,
Oh,
how
yeah.
much are you drinking? Okay, I see.
Gauntlets of power.
Gauntlets of power.
Hey, you guys want to see a project I worked on for Dan for a long time?
Nice, yes.
Sure.
Nice.
Oh,
Huzzah!
this was the thing from HBO, and Dan wanted to use it in his show, but I thought it would turn into copyright issues because this is a background you get from HBO. So I was like, let's see if I can recreate this, but using only stuff that I find took source. And this is what I could. That'd be cool. Thought I did a good job.
Love it.
Like I did. I only used things from museums and whatnot.
This
And
is
other
the Game of Thrones
open
chat lower.
public things.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And I
I
like I
like-
said,
And then George R.R. Martin is he's just going to kill all of these buildings and all of the logos in the next book.
yeah, murder them so that I can't use them. Anyway, see, season 3. This was last year. And then I tried to do this, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of boring. So I went with way more action. Smash.
I love it.
Cool. All right.
Alright, I think that was it.
Well, okay, cool. Announcements. Not much from me. Bob was to mention the Brewers Cup still going on. Everybody get in their league matches. Go out to the website. You know what it is, MagicGatheringStrat.com. Get out there. It's all free. We don't make you pay for nothing, and we give you prizes. MTGO Traders.
No, Card Hoarder.
No,
Card
card,
Hoarder.
excuse me. MTGO, yeah, MTGO Traders. Psh, that's old and busted. Card Hoarder. That's the new hotness right there. So Card Hoarder is putting up a lot for the prizes. It's pretty awesome. So get out there and do your league matches. My league match this week, or last week, I fought Avery. And this week, I haven't got a response back, so I'll see how that works. Updates. Well, I do. My birthday was recent. It was a significant birthday. It's a birthday with a number that ends in 0.
He turned 80.
I turned 80. I'm an octogenarian. I look great for 80.
Yeah, you do.
Amazing.
So, anyway,
It's hard to
I
believe
got
you actually
some-
fought in World War II.
I'll tell you, I beat the crap out of some Nazis, y'all.
Good work.
Yeah, I was that guy in Inglourious Bastards with the bat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Bat.
yeah, the Joe DiMaggio guy. I like Joe DiMaggio. Anyway, Deck
can I say
update.
something?
So, sure.
About the Brewers Cup. If you go
Yeah,
to
go for it.
MagicGatheringStrat.com now, you can partake in the Brewers Cup Week 8. It's Classic Pauper, and you have to make a toolbox list. So you can find any of the toolbox tools in Pauper and make a great deck and be part of the Brewers Cup.
There it is. The Tinkerer's Toolbox. There it is, folks. Look at this.
I have a toolbox list I really like, so I might go ahead and submit it.
Do it. Do it.
Brew, people.
This is all good stuff,
brew.
everybody. Brew like the wind. All right. So what I did is I took my birthday money and actually bought an actual competitive modern deck. And that deck is Living End.
Oh my
That's
god, you
right.
turned to the dark side.
I did. I had several of the pieces. The things I did not have, I didn't have Black Cleave Cliffs, Fulminator Mages, and I had randomly picked up some French Living Ends.
God.
If you don't know this deck, yeah, so it's Fiend Vivant. The Architect, the Deadshot, the Jungle Weaver, the Carabid, the Street Wraith all cycle. They all cycle for 1 or 2 mana, sometimes no mana. And you try to fill up your graveyard until you can cast Violent Outburst or Demonic Dread, which cascades. And the only thing smaller than Demonic Dread and Violent Outburst is Living End. You cast it right away,
That's
and that
cheating.
wipes the board. It's awesome. That wipes the board, takes all your creatures that were in the graveyard, puts them in play, and then all that stuff that got wiped goes into the graveyard. So it does a big old switcheroo. It's beautiful. It's like a great, you just sit around and wait and wait and wait, and then you hit them. It's awesome. I love everything about it. But some of the things I did, I went a little overboard in pimping out this thing. Like I said, I got the, there's my French Living End, the Fiend Vivant. La Fiend Vivant est Noir. That means it's a black card. It has Suspension 3. So you can do that if you have to. If you somehow draw all 3 of them, you can actually suspend it and just wait out the suspend. But some other things I did. For the basics, there's only 5 basics. I got German Beta Forest. It is the German Beta Forest. I got 2 German Beta Mountains. That's right, black bordered, y'all. So hot.
Stocke dein mana forrat.
Yes. And then here's this. It's auf. It's a Sumpf.
Sumpf.
That's a German Sumpf. It's a German beta swamp.
Just
I
like
got
in
2
World
of
War
these. Yes, I remember it from my days in World War II, slogging through all these German swamps, walls,
black
and
mana.
mountains. Yes, I defeat them. I turned it on. I turned the black mana on the Nazis themselves.
Clever.
It was my gift.
Can you bring back?
Anyway, I just can I what?
Can I bring back the deck list?
Yep. Hold on. My deck list. Yep. Doot. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful lands. There we go. Okay.
I just wanted to mention that playing against this deck with Red Green Tron,
Mm-hmm.
Because it's when you run into this deck that you will regret cutting your relics of Preanitus for Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Because if you run in your 75 4 relics, this is a fairly good matchup. But as soon as you start cutting the relics, and then you run into this, then your entire deck is pretty bad.
Yeah. The thing is, though, the opposite side of that, once you run into relics and a lot of graveyard hate, you just start casting your fatties.
Yeah,
you
but
got plenty of mana.
Tron doesn't have a problem with that. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I played turn 3 Karn and you played turn 3 Living End. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm going to attack you. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's a bad matchup for Tron.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup for a lot of aggro-heavy decks.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm counting on. I just like it. I love everything about it. Because this cycling is uncounterable. You're going to chew through your deck so quick. And if you need to, you can use these like Twisted Abomination to put up a blocker. Thankfully, this was printed in Time Spiral, which was really cool. Beast Within is great because if they have, some kind of planeswalker or something, you Beast Within it, they get a 3/3. You don't care. You're about to wipe it off the board.
Yeah, or
so
Tron
awesome.
Land.
Tron Land, yes.
Yeah. If you're somehow
I will take your tower. Right. I've seen some lists with 4 Fulminators and 2 Avalanche Riders.
I'm crying right now when you speak of such things.
Yeah, the Avalanche Riders, I think, are a little too slow, but
That's what I thought, too.
Fulminators are just beautiful in it. Just beautiful.
Yeah, that was by far the most expensive part of this deck. That took the bulk of my funds.
The
Worth
mages.
every penny.
What was that?
The Fulminator mages.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fulminator Mages. Guess what was the second most expensive card in the deck? Fulminator Mages number 1. Guess what number 2 is? No cheating in chat. No cheating in chat.
The Spirit Guides?
The Spirit Guides, nope, they're only about $4 each.
Only for a common.
Mm-hmm.
Living Ends.
Mm-mm. Well, I got them cheap, but you can get Living Ends for about $12.
Blackleaf Cliffs.
Oh.
Black Cleave Cliffs. Yes.
Really?
They
Wow.
are $16 each.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What's in Modern even renting Black Red right now? Jun's and it doesn't seem like Jun's that played.
You'd
That's
have to
bonkers.
go to MTGO Goldfish, click on the Black Cleave Cliffs, and see what's running it.
I remember recommending this
Oh, yeah.
in a finance video back in the day. Like, this will be expensive. John the Griselbrand deck,
And you
Dread
are
Shrine,
right.
Living End, and a Legacy deck.
Yeah, that Grishol brand or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's black-red mana that can be untapped. It's vitally important. Oh, and people are starting to run the Rakdos Burn decks, and they need a full set of these bad boys.
Sure do.
And the problem is, since you're getting beat up for the first 4 or 5 rounds, putting in the Sulfur Springs is a bad idea.
I bet it is.
Yeah, you can't afford that extra life loss.
You cannot. But you do have 4 Brindleboar in the sideboard against Burn. Isn't that awesome?
Wow. Brindleboar. Ooh.
Yep, because you can bring them back. It's great.
Modern Jund is $800 right now. That's disgusting.
It's cheaper than when I had it once. I think Blackleaf Cliffs will be reprinted at some point. But probably far in the future. It's on the cycle of dual lands that they will go through.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll come back probably when we go back to Meriden or whatever.
But Meriden fell. Meriden's
Extra,
gone.
Modern Masters
Well,
2017.
New Phyrexia.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
had a lot of for this past
I kinda
Modern
feel like-
Masters.
I kind of feel like Modern Masters will become the summer release. I don't know. PAX Prime is on the 29th, and I think they're going to do a lot of pimping there.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get to see the new Planeswalkers, I bet.
yeah. No comments. Because they hate us.
They don't care.
I want to see a live
Yeah,
video
well-
with the Living End deck.
Oh, a live video?
Yeah.
You know what? Oh yeah, I'll take it to. I'll let them. They should let me film. I've already talked to him. Already talked to Bobby about it. He was
Yeah.
cool with it. So yeah, I'll try to film me playing this at the modern F&M.
Love it.
That'll be fun. Yeah. All I've been doing now is.
Oh, good.
I was saying
Yeah.
all I've been doing recently is just goldfishing with it. So.
You haven't been beating your daughter at Magic just over and over again.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
I want to play again. Again, need the reps.
all right. I bought her a cheap goblins deck for modern. Come on, honey, let's play that.
Let's play with Daddy's tier 1.5 deck against your $2 goblin deck.
Oh, it's funny when I bought it. I think I spent on all the goblins all together, maybe spent $30. But they have all shot up in price. It's nuts.
Pile driver.
That's because
Yeah. I got 2 pile drivers. I traded for them.
Good old pile driver.
It's a great card. Beautiful design.
For sure.
Immune to blue for some reason.
well, back in Odyssey block, right? That was a thing.
Sure was.
That was-
Onslaught, right?
Think of Onslaught block. Yeah, that was a thing, though, right? Like red hated blue to death back then. So
Yeah, there were a couple of other broken goblins, but pile driver was the worst one.
Yeah, who's the one that you can tap them to do 1 damage, and then if you kill something, it untaps?
oh, there's a whole cycle of those, but I can't remember. Here, let me go to Gather.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Let me go to Gather and look up Goblin.
You bring him in against tokens, and you just go pop, 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 pop. Pretty awesome. So, yep, I have an actual real deck, and I want to real play it. And I love my. I haven't replaced my full art Zendikar lands with these sweet, sweet betas.
Sweet, sweet beta.
I think
These
I
are the
have some
lands
of
I
those,
grew up
actually.
with. Yeah, what?
The German beta lands.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got these for a pretty good price.
Sweet.
$5
much were
million.
I got them from Germany, actually, on German eBay.
During the war?
It was, yeah, from during the war. I was over there, my way back home, after I had to tell all the beautiful Froll lines that I had to leave. That, let's see, was it? I got a set of 4 of each for €4.50, whatever that is.
$6-7,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. Pretty close.
So, whatever, €4.50 for a set of 4 of each. Oh, but the 2 forests, I only bought 2, and they were just $2.50 euros, whatever that is. So, PayPal did the exchange rate. I didn't care.
They probably cheated you.
And I actually
Goblin
got
Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter. What was it?
Sharp-
Yeah, sharpshooter.
Yeah,
Look it up.
I did. I also got 2 of the living ends from France, but one of them was a French one that happened to be in Florida. Who knew? But they were
I
cheaper.
didn't know we allowed into the country.
We yeah, they were cheaper than regular living ends. I was like, why? My high school French learning can get me muddled through that card pretty easy. I don't see why I shouldn't buy it. So there you go.
In town, the new comic book shop opened.
Oh yeah?
At 20,000 square feet.
What?
Comic books,
Whoa.
Magic, board games.
That's
they're
nuts.
They're posed to take out the other 2 hobby shops in town. Just take them down like a wrestler to like a bear or something. It's going to be. They're doing a soft open as they build it up. It's going to be beautiful in like a month. I'll get permission to take some pictures so we can put them up. But I've already got permission to go in with flyers for Pauper and for Cube. So I'm hoping to build a nice community. They wanted to get open because I live in a small university town and it's starting in a couple of weeks, so they want to get open ahead of the college kids coming back.
Yeah, they do need to do that. That's for darn sure. Well,
But it's
cool.
awesome. They have a coffee bar in it, so you never have to leave, kind of like a casino. They
Sounds
come
great.
around, they give you back rubs, something.
They give you back rubs. Do they have They have waitresses with those little trays that come around and give you free
Oh god,
drinks?
that would be awesome. No, but they're gonna have like a theater set up in there, so you can go and watch a movie. And upstairs is where there's going to be 20 magic tables to play on.
Wow.
And downstairs, like it's a beautiful. Like I walked in, I was like, I'm going to leave my wife for this comic book shop. I'm gonna abandon my family, and I'm just gonna stay here.
Did you tell?
But it's awesome.
Is what swayed them the fact that we would tweet their location out and talk about it on the show? Did that sway them?
No, didn't sway them at all.
Oh.
No, they just wanted to come into the market. They have 2 other shops, so they're slowly becoming a franchise in the area. Not a franchise, but like a chain. And
Right.
that's awesome because the only other chain of comic book shops I'm aware of really that exists are the ones that Kevin Smith runs.
Oh, Secret
I don't
Stash?
understand. Yeah, he's got like 4 of those in that area of the country that shall not be named.
Yeah. Used to around here there was Lone Star Comics had a stranglehold on the market around here, but they have since gone away, and people have filled their vacancy with other comic book shops. But Lone Star, before the internet and whatnot, they were pretty much in control of all comic book prices around this area. If you wanted to sell a comic or buy a vintage one, you had to go through them.
That's not fun.
No, but there was a lot of corruption back in the 80s with comic books and baseball cards, like tons and tons. Lots of distributors were in cahoots with the bigger outlets, and they were intentionally misreporting the number of comics, especially Valiant comics. That was a huge one back in the day. Valiant and Image. Yeah.
The comic line, that was so, like, collectible. Like, some of those issues, like, in reality only had, like, 14 copies out there. So, like, that's why, or at least that's why they said. So.
But there wasn't. There were millions. And they ended up being worthless.
That's the cycle of comic books, though.
Yep, what are you going to do?
Not worth it.
Oop, I'm out of focus.
Sorry, Dan.
we're not including
which city
you
is
in
this, Sam?
I live in the wonderful, liberal beautiful city of Lawrence, Kansas.
All right.
Like 5 minutes away from the University of Kansas. So that's my not my hometown. My hometown is 20 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
The horrible Republican cesspool of Topeka, Kansas. So, or as we call it around here, Brown Bakistan, because our governor is one of the worst people ever born. Right up there with Will Smith's kids.
Wow.
So,
Welcome to MagicGathering.
Why do you hate Will Smith's kids so much?
have you seen those people? They're insane, both of them. They need to be medicated.
Who, Willow and Jaden?
Oh, Jaden. So much potential. Oh, all gone.
If you don't follow Jaden Smith on Twitter, you're doing yourself a disservice.
I'm trying to cling to shreds of sanity that I have remaining. Oh, I would say it, but
Why do we have eyes when we can't see?
oh my god, God, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, that's all I have to say. Oh my god, but
Anyway,
no, I'm really excited about having the ability to get a cube group basically together because I've been unsuccessful to this point, which is, I guess, the detriment of cube. Edmund and I talked about that a little. That it took him like years to get a group of people together that he would allow into his house to play, basically. So,
well, if you're not all proxied out like mine, my Pauper cube is normal, but if you don't have proxies for your powered cube, you gotta trust people. You gotta trust they're not just gonna squish up your cards or take them or something.
oh, see, for mine, it's like the price on Cube Tutor is like $300, and that's like based around maybe 6 cards. In reality, like Serum Visions is like the single most expensive card in there.
Right.
So I'm not all that afraid of it. But yeah, the thought of somebody like riff shuffling,
I know.
I'm like, well, don't riff shuffle. No.
Yeah, that drives me nuts when I see it on camera. Especially the Pro
yeah.
Tour.
Pro Tour Origins, yeah, but those guys don't pay for their cards.
Oh, that's
they don't
true.
care. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what is
I
the
don't know who's.
most expensive.
Okay.
I took out. I didn't add the most expensive card of mine. It was what was it called? Fire Trap. What's that card? Let's see. Gatherer. Something. Fire Trap. Fire something trap. Oh well.
Fire.
Oh, there it is. Fire Ambush.
Fire.
This card right here. Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a sorcery, 3 damage for 2 mana, right? You think, what the heck?
Right.
Isn't that Volcanic Hammer? And you would be right. It is Volcanic Hammer. But you know what else it is? Fire Ambush was printed in Portal's 3 Kingdom.
Yeah.
And, let's see, where do they have it? No, that's not a good price. Let's go to TCG. Unless it's gone down. Which would be cool. I might get one if it has. But it was like $28 when I was putting this together. Oh, good. It's gone way down. It's down to $4. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it got such a small release, Portal 3 Kingdoms. Like, it never released over here in English. It released in a couple different countries in English, but it was primarily for the Asian market.
Right.
So,
yeah, see these spikes up here?
Crazy. So
yeah, but there you go. That's expensive, and I think Chain Lightning is by far the most expensive. Yeah,
Chain Lightning, crazy.
It used to have False Defeat, but I took it out. But they actually got taken out too. False Defeat. How much is this one? $11. Anyway.
This is Resurrection, right?
Sorcery, 3 and a white. It's not Resurrection's 2 and 2 white.
Yeah, but I mean, it's basically just Resurrection.
Yeah, and that's actually what I had proxied it with. Was
Yeah, Resurrection is a big card. And it got reprinted in Chronicles, so there's probably 7.5 billion of them out there.
Yeah, it cost 10 cents.
Let's see. Eternal Witness is $7.
Yep.
I'm not going to have an Eternal Witness. She's a sexy green lady. She is.
Oh, Sam.
She's recursion. Sexy green recursion.
Well, now that we have kicked Dan off the show, and it is now just the...
I just disconnected when I heard the word cube.
Yeah,
mentally.
I know. We have a lot of
mentally
people who don't care.
Mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, traumatic.
Inquisition is like $14 in...
What, Kozilek?
Yeah, Inquisition of Kozilek.
When you can get
super crazy.
When you get Thoughtseize for cheaper than Inquisition, that's ridiculous.
There's no life loss, so it gets played more in
tiny leaders.
Yeah, some of the other legacy formats. And Certain Visions is down to 12, but I mean, come on, that card.
The card is
Why
stupid.
didn't they reprint that? They need to reprint that.
It's not a great card.
No, I hate it, but it's a one casting cost cantrip, so...
I know.
I'm thinking about the next deck for the Modern Bible, if I'm going to write the 36.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do that next year, I should probably start playing that deck. So I'm thinking of Splinter Twin. But Serum Vision is like going to be the most expensive card that I don't have.
Dan, but why are you joining the dark side, Dan, and playing Splinter Twin?
It has to be a deck that is sometimes tier 1 at least, and it has to be a deck that has been around for a long time and will probably be around for a long time. And that would be after the bannings for the first Pro Tour of 2016. So I think I tried to play Black Green X, and that's not my thing. I think I could do better with Twin. So I'm taking suggestions, of course, if you can think of another deck. But Twin is definitely on top of the list right now.
I vote Jund.
Jund is so expensive. So pricey.
Burn
you can't
would
run.
probably
I
be
mean, you
another
can't
alternative.
really. Oh, go ahead.
Or Affinity, perhaps.
Robots.
Yeah.
Affinity's pretty good. Although, it's kind of like if you do Affinity, if you do Tron, Tron and then Affinity, you're kind of staying in the brown area.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of stuff in.
area.
That's a different discussion.
I think Burn is maybe too budget. So Splinter Twin seems like a good alternative.
Podless Pod.
Value.
I think that deck hasn't been around for long enough, and it keeps changing. So
I see what you mean.
it sort of
You need
needs to
something
stay
stable.
the same for 36 weeks.
Okay.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yes.
Well, considering they'll probably never print Burn worth putting in a modern Burn deck again.
They
probably
do
good.
all the time, so there's one card a block.
Well, I guess the that new one they added for the sideboard against Twin
Yeah.
The uncountable.
I still got 12 weeks
that's
to go
pretty good.
with the Tron Bible. So we're into matchups starting this Sunday.
Cool.
And
Cool,
after that
cool.
there will be the Gauntlet, and then I'm thinking about doing another modern Bible. But I need to get the reps in, so I need to start soonish.
I hear you. All right. Well, cool. Put comments below, people. Tell Dan if you think it should be twin or some other steady state deck, because that's what Dan needs. Something consistent.
Yes.
All right. Well, folks, I think that's going to end it for the show.
What?
Oh yeah, we didn't announce.
What
There's
else
no
we-
Pauper Classic Tuesday tonight.
Well, there is none.
And didn't show up.
There's nothing there. Nothing to
Nothing
report
there.
on. But
No,
actually, on the when this video goes up, it's going to be like an hour and 40 minutes long.
yeah.
Good.
So you're gonna get your fill. Most of it, me talking to somebody else, but it's okay. Everybody will love it anyway.
How dare you talk to that other man? How dare you?
Sorry, he tempted me with pancakes and video games.
You can't compete with pancakes and video games.
I'm Swedish, I'm
Mandatory
liberal, so you
hugs.
can talk to anyone you want. Free love, people.
Yay!
That's Dan. That's Dan for you. Free love, y'all. Okay, cool. Well, I'm afraid it has come to an end. Dun, dun, dun. MagicGatheringStrat.com. Check it out. We talked about it earlier. Free prizes. What's not to like? Patreon.com. If you enjoy the content we produce, help us produce more. Patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat. The Twitters at MagicGathStrat. For me, it's at Cerulean Says Hi. For Sam, it's at SPO7677. And for Dan, it's at Dan Horning. Facebook.com/MagicGatheringStrat. Please like and subscribe. It does help us. So, for this week on the show, and for the Twitch audience, thank you for joining us. So, I am Brennon.
I'm Sam. Woo.
And I'm Dan.
And this has been the Magic Gathering Strat Show.
MagicGatheringStrat.
Yay.
All right.
All right.